What's going on, everybody? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing, getting ready for the New York session here. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Glad to see everyone here from across the globe in this, as I think Wes put it, this really positive vibe. What did Wes say? Let's find his comment. Hold on one second. Hold on. By the way, so excited over here this morning. Peace, positivity, and profits for all. The three Ps. The three Ps. That's where we are this morning. We're going to be taking a look at what's going on with silver this morning, trading and testing $19 earlier. Gold remains above 1,800. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin. We're going to be looking at the markets, S&P. We're also going to be taking a look. There's a lot going on in FX. There's a lot going on in FX, including on the Euro US dollar, on the Japanese yen pairs. Everyone is, volatility is a little bit muted right now. Overnight was pretty good. We're going to take a look at it all. First, couple of things. Oh, by the way, has anyone seen the Shanghai? This is up over 10% in the last 2 weeks. This is less than 2 weeks, right? Since the 1st of July over here, you could see this is up 16% now. The last time I checked in on it, it was up 10%. This market has gone bananas, right? Are the U.S. equity markets to follow? Are they also going to go bananas? I'm not looking for the S&P to go up 16% in 10 days or anything like that, right? But you understand what I mean. Wanted to point, by the way, I was so excited. I hope that there's going to be someone here who really, you know what? I'm going to start with this video first.
This is amazing. I have to share this with you because you can't believe how excited I am. I started every Saturday and Sunday morning. We got 5 kids. They're all pretty young, right? We got 4 kids under 3.5, but we get like 20 minutes on Saturday and Sunday together in the morning where, have a cup of coffee in bed. And for the past month or so, it's been watching whatever interests my wife on the Tom Blue channel. And my wife just texted me 10 truths about being an entrepreneur. So I saw that title and I was like, wow, that's very unlike my wife to send something like that. That's awesome. I want to read. I love that stuff. And it was from Tom. So he says, you must work long, hard, and smart. There's no difference about being a trader than being an entrepreneur. You must work long, hard, and smart. It's not a question of and it's a good question. How do I trade the news? Right? Is this an edge I could translate into my trading? Could I wait for a newsprint? And is there an edge that I could trade around it that where I can make money? It's an important question to ask. The answer turns out to be something you should absolutely not do, right? Uh, and of course, focusing on what is easier to work. But the point is that you need to work long, hard, and smart as a trader, right? Number two, you got to be able to outperform the competition. Trading is a zero sum game, right? You are trading against people who take it seriously, who do it for a living. They put everything they have into it. So if you're coming in here and you want to be a trader and you're not willing to commit to outperform your competition, you have no chance. There are no shortcuts. You have to put in the time. Number three, you can't ask people to slow down so you can lead. Nah, that's not relevant to us. You must destroy every obstacle that you encounter. Absolutely. You must be optimistic. Blair hit on that today, right? When he said not yet about the views. You must be optimistic. You must be optimistic. You have no chance of succeeding if you don't have a positive outlook. You must be in control of your emotions. As a trader, we know that you must be in control of your emotions. How do you do that as a trader? Number one, trade smaller. Trade smaller and you will take the emotions out of the equation. If you think that you could trade bigger and make more money, you're wrong. You're going to lose money. You're going to lose money because now your emotions are becoming in control of your trading. You have no chance of succeeding. You're going to lose money. If you go ahead and you start trading a smaller size, so small that it's insignificant to you, at that point, you're going to see your win ratio increase. You're going to see yourself taking on better and smarter positions, and you're going to start making more money. And then you could start adding to your positions. You are not good enough yet. How important is that mindset? I believe that with all my heart. I'm always looking to improve myself. I'm always looking to improve myself. I am not yet the trader that I want to be. That's why when trading in the zone was brought up to me and I had not read it yet, is something that I definitely want to have behind me, because the more information I get, the better of a chance I have at improving. You must learn every day. Every day. Always be learning. And if your strategy is wrong, refine it every day. Great stuff. This
Ah, Oh no, did we? I can't believe for all that we just had a little bit of a sound problem, but we're gonna start back exactly where I was. What I was saying was that I had, by the way, when this video started, there was only 359 views. This was back in April the 10th. There was only 359 views, and we were doing that every day back since October. Every day, doing our live streams every day. It didn't matter how many people were there. It didn't matter if there were 20 people there, and it didn't matter if there were 30 people there. It just didn't matter. This high quality content, nuggets of information being shared every day, and I thought I lost a bunch of my live stream videos, 30 of them, and in such an important part, in such an important period. It was from April the 17th, from April, boom, 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 April the 17th all the way through June, 30 videos, right? That's 6 weeks of live streams during such a volatile period, during the market crisis. The amount of information shared in those 30 videos, you just can't put a value on it. And I thought they were lost forever. They were accidentally deleted on Google. I found them yesterday. I am so excited. I'm going to be going through those videos, those live streams myself, and I'm going to be looking for the nuggets that were shared within each one, try to put together some compilation. I was, you don't understand, so happy to have those videos back. Still no sound. Still no sound. I mean, everyone's got a sound. Could we get a sound check in here? Yeah, that's what I thought. All right. Here we go. Time to get into it. I don't know what you thought of a little bit different opening here. The first 12 minutes, we got to see that little 3-minute video clip of 10 truths of being a trader and an entrepreneur, trader, person. And I can't believe that. Only 359 people got to see that. That's amazing. That's some good stuff over there. What else are we looking at over here? Let's get into the charts. We're looking at the S&P this morning, and it's barely holding on to gains. Actually, we have a minute over here. I was looking at this. We're going to start off with gold, actually. And it's just a note talking about what happened overnight. And it says, in terms of market moves, they're talking about gold trading above 1,800. And in many ways, this isn't surprising, given central banks are printing money like it's going out of fashion. What do you mean this isn't surprising? Like, as if, like, now that it's happening, you're like, oh yeah, see, gold. No, we've been looking for this to happen. Actually, ever since we were in below the all-time yearly highs over here, right? As we pulled back into this area, I'm trying to look where it was, right? This is where we were involved. We were still below the 1750 resistance, right? This is when we started getting really, really, really interested and watching, waiting for the breakout. And since it's been a break, right? Anyone that's surprised that gold is trading at 1,800 or saying, oh, now that makes sense. Yeah. What are they going to be saying when Bitcoin's trading at $30,000? Yep. Now, someone shared to me actually the Bitcoin video out on Bloomberg yesterday, and they were talking about, how Bitcoin's been consolidating for the last couple of months between 8,000 and 9,000. It looks like it's getting ready for a nice breakout. Vote Kanye. Oh, all right. So here we are. We've seen the S&P. We're gonna. Murray wants to look at some levels of gold, and we all do. So we'll start there. There's a lot that I do want to get into, because even though the markets, seemingly the FX markets, have not moved so much, they're actually in a perfect place for further setups. So I do want to look at that. Here we're looking at gold though. What kind of support levels are we looking at? We have over here, in this area over here of 1771, that's some very nice support. And then below it, again at 1750, that was the resistance that we tried so hard and so long to get above. Once we did, those should now be support. Are we going to pull back? I felt like we looked at this. Murray, did you see the video yesterday on the latest published video on the channel yesterday afternoon? I looked at gold and I was talking about the levels that you could get into gold. And I want to do that with you all right now, really quick. Here we go. If you're looking during the crisis itself, this was the crisis. Gold had a 15% pullback. All right, maximum. Probably didn't even have a 15% pullback. Now, for some perspective, back in 2008, that was a 30% pullback during the crisis. All right. Now you look over here at gold, and then gold afterwards during the volatility had a 4% pullback. Right. You could see over here it had another 4.5% pullback. Right. And then again, another 3.5% pullback. And from the high, 5%. So where we are right now, if you're looking for a pullback into support to enter, you also have to wonder how far of a pullback will you get at all. Here's the high we put in, come down, let's say 3%. So it's 2.5% into the first support, 1771, and then it's 3.5 into 1751. Both of those look like good places to buy, and probably in each, right? In case you don't get filled for them both. If we were to pull back, 3% seems like a decent pullback. 3 to 4% pullback. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those, and we haven't had one since the beginning of June. So we haven't had one in 5 weeks. So if you get a nice 3% pullback, 4% pullback, that would take you into the next two lowest support. That would be a fantastic buying opportunity, I believe. So there we go, Murray. I hope that answers your question precisely and clear. Let's take a look. S&P is basically flatlining right now. It remains, bouncing off of that support over here that we've been watching, looking for, and it's got that bullish tint to it, right? Summer trading, not really going on, not much on the calendar at all. And we're just seeing the markets holding on to gains here. There's not too much going on or else to say about that. Silver, however, trading up at 19, back towards its highs. If you take a step back, you're looking that silver is now getting ready to challenge $20, to challenge the yearly high, and then I take it that is also probably pretty close to. Let's see when we were trading this high again. Yeah, actually not really. Why gold is breaking out here to new 8-year highs and getting ready to challenge all-time highs. Silver is still lagging. Definitely still lagging. I'm looking for the silver, and I was thinking about this morning. I'm looking for the silver gold ratio, right, to continue to outperform in a portfolio. How much right now should you be positioned gold, and should you be increasing your silver exposure? You all know that not only am I a Bitcoiner, but I'm a gold bug, right? Yeah. So Connor, I just showed all the videos, right? They're all on the YouTube channel going back to January, the beginning of the year. And then I had 30 that were lost. Here they are. I found them yesterday. Stoked. If you go back and you go back to the January videos, we were tracking WTI crude the whole way, right? So when you go back and we're talking about, like, by the way, this right here, the spike up, that was when Iran attacked the United States in Iraq, and then that actually wound up being the high, right? Silver reversed down pretty hard. It was when it was trading like in the high 50s that we started talking about if we enter a recession, we could see oil trading down 35, right? And then pretty soon thereafter, we were trading down at 35, and that happened a little quicker than expected. Moved my price target down to 24, right? When that happened, moved it down towards 21. I said if we break this area 19, 1450 was the last level I had in, and then I just stopped. Once it broke 1450, I never expected that to happen. Like 1450 was my ultimate price target on oil, and after that happened, they just got us on the sidelines. I haven't been following oil since. All right. Well, and rightfully so. Look at this. This happened. I never expected this all to happen as quickly as it did. But that was that. We had our fun. But that is all back on the videos. You could go back on that videos. For long-term investing, should I be positioned more in silver since it's lagging? I mean, interesting question that you need to think about as you, yeah. Interesting question that you need to be thinking about right now. I mean, I truly believe that we're going to see the silver outperform gold right now, and we're basically continue to be in the heart of that. Even though we've seen a large spike down, first a large spike up in the gold portion during the crisis, and now silver has retraced that move. But I think from here on in, we continue to see silver outperform unless we enter another crisis. The thing about crises are when you're entering them, you're entering them. It's clear, and then you have to know how to position, right? Swiss franc, Japanese yen, future reference, gold versus silver. But here we are right now. QE has started. How much should your silver position be compared to gold? That's personal preference. Being that when it comes to precious metals, it's the physical stuff I own, right? I'm more partial towards gold, and just because it's easier to move. Silver's a lot of silver is heavy to carry around, you know. So here, I mean, a lot of money in silver. You could have $10,000 in gold is kind of light to carry around. 10,000 and mind you, 4 or 5 1-ounce coins. That you feel that in your pocket. But imagine holding the same amount of money in silver. You just can't even hold it. Silver's heavy. So WTI, moving on. Now Bitcoin though, and I've been setting everybody up, and I feel like everyone is on that gold and Bitcoin train, right? When I say gold, I mean precious metals, but gold, right? And I happen to lean towards gold, so it's a hard one for me. If you're paper trading though, right now, should you be focused on gold or silver? I think silver for that longer term investor. So Bitcoin though, I've been trying to set everyone up as what's coming here on this move on Bitcoin. And by the way, speaking to family early in the week, my father-in-law, and he's wondering if it was still cheap. He's wondering if Bitcoin was still cheap, trading at 9,100. Because I remember I had shocked him once. It was back over here. Bitcoin was trading at 9,000. This is going back to actually, I guess, June of 2019, a year ago. And Bitcoin was trading at 9,000. I was like, that's cheap. That's really cheap right now because I know what was coming next, right? So I believe any time, right, to $20,000, $30,000 is the time to continue accumulating Bitcoin, or I will be strongly accumulating Bitcoin as I have been and I will continue strongly. If you don't own any Bitcoin today, this is this is one of the so owning Bitcoin today, by the way, is much less of a risk than it was back in 2012 or 2014 or 2015 or 16. It's a much less risk, right? So what's safer, owning Bitcoin back then or owning Bitcoin at 9,000? I think owning Bitcoin at 9,000 is a much less risk, higher reward investment. So do I recommend them? No, Michael Novogratz, I think this Galaxy Digital is out of Canada. If I'm wrong about that, correct me, but it's out of Canada. And, this is a Bitcoin play as well as other like things like Ripple and Ethereum, and a basket of different altcoins, heavily weighted towards Bitcoin though. It is an option for people who, even though I'm a Bitcoin believer, even though I'm a Bitcoiner, I know that altcoins, or believe that altcoins in this next season are going to outperform Bitcoin. Owning something like the Galaxy Fund might outperform Grayscale because it includes that basket of other altcoins as well. By the way, if someone is really looking for a speculative investment right now, think about something like the top 100 or the top 30 altcoins. And I could look at a chart with you showing you the significant difference it had in the last bull market in outperforming Bitcoin. I mean, personally, I'm good with Bitcoin, especially if you are able to use a small amount of leverage on Bitcoin. It really, really is the market I'm focused in on. What's going on, Jason? Hong Konger. Listen, big shout out to all the people of Hong Kong and the revolution they've been fighting over this past year and a half. The fight for freedom across the globe. I've never seen anyone fight so hard in my lifetime. Big shout out to them. Actual BTC or BTC contract, which one do you suggest? I mean, it's an important question at this point in the bull market when people should really be doing their research. You know what? You should own Bitcoin offline in a hardware device, such as a ledger or a treasure or a cold card. I personally prefer, I would recommend to family the treasure, as well as with the passcode phrase. So yeah, you want to own it offline in a hardware, and then as far as trading a contract, if you're talking about the CME contract, that requires a 5 Bitcoin position, right? It's a big contract. There are so many different trading platforms, including FX Choice. By the way, I trade FX in a Bitcoin account. So I mean, I'm taking advantage of Bitcoin, obviously, in the coming bull market over here, as well as my FX trading. Now, if someone wanted to hold a portfolio at this time, maybe on FX Choice in Bitcoin, and then position themselves into silver, that would be a highly aggressive play, right? Probably the correct play. When you talk about gold versus Bitcoin, the thing about gold is gold has the upside priced in over here as you're seeing risk rally, as you're seeing the expansion of the Fed balance sheet priced in over here. Gold is rising, silver is outpacing it. But if we come into an insolvency crisis or or another crisis, which one is going to hold up better, right? Gold. There's no question about that safer trade, right? There's no question that silver might outperform. What about taking a gold position, right? People are now raising their price targets to 2,000 on gold. I mean, this is ridiculous. Notably, our team has upgraded their 2021 gold target to 2,000 an ounce. Well, I mean, we've had above a 2,000 ounce target, right? And why now would you be doing that? Why didn't you do that back when the Fed started QE? I don't know, or even before then. Paul Tudor Jones back in December of 2018 when the Fed raised interest rates, then said they just made a mistake. That's the last time they'll be able to raise interest rates. They're going on a easing cycle. Here we are. That now it's zero from that Fed policy mistake. Didn't you know back then that was the time for gold? Either way, I digress. If we run into any type of trouble, though, you're going to want to be holding gold and not silver. And we're definitely in an environment where we could run into some trouble. Is insolvency going to start becoming an issue? Are we going to see the stock markets continue to rise, possibly even go on to make new all-time highs? Or are we going to see a sharp pullback? I mean, no one has the answer to that. Look what the Shanghai is doing once again. Let's get into some pairs over here. Starting with the euro US dollar. So I'm going to get down to the 8-hour where we live on Forex. And you can see that we broke through this trend line yesterday and have come back overnight, retesting it. There's a possibility here for an entry. Again, this was the entry that I took down over here. There's another entry now lining up as you're above the trend line over here. And as you're coming back down, right? Coming back down, testing that trend line of impulse upwards. Not only is that a long entry, but if you do come back and look at what is the possibility now on a breakout here of the euro, that opens up, let's see, 116. That opens up 1.16 here on the euro US dollar. So that's something to watch over there. Australian dollar, US dollar, breaking through some resistance overnight. This is where we were looking right there for the long. We're seeing that setups enter the markets, right? That wave, the clean waves, they're still here. It's still clean sets. You should be. I think that there are a lot of you in here, at least those in the program. I really genuinely hope that's resistance. Sorry, that you are managing some good positions over here and holding on to them. Australian dollar, Canadian dollar. Also, look how many setups we're going to still see in the market, just like yesterday, right? So euro, I don't want, let me pause and go back to the DXY. I don't know. I mean, try giving it a quick search, Gary. Bull, NASDAQ bull. Here we go. The DXY, you could see it again breaking the support over here yesterday at 96.47. Now then, after it broke there, it actually also retested. If this starts making lower lows, this is resuming down. We will see. I wonder if we're looking at perhaps a retest of 95.74. Let me go ahead and move up that support level to that area over there. Looking like we could see some continued dollar weakness, and we're positioned for it, right? And you could still further look to get positioned for it as it continues to develop. What about here on the euro, on the Australian dollar, US dollar? I mean, we looked at this together where the entry was, right? Now as you come into the resistance, now is when, right? Right now is when you're taking a small piece of profit off, or moving your stop to break even, and or moving your stop to break even, looking for this here possibly now to push through with the other piece you have on. You have to understand, if you understand the concept, and you have to, this is a big deal. You have to understand the importance of cutting your losers short and holding on and pushing your winners. The only way you could ever push winners, and this is a perfect example right here, as you took the entry over here, now take a small piece off of your trade and you have your stop loss at break even, you're going to have a pretty significant amount of proportion of these trades that come back and get stopped off at break even. Now you were into profit, and to see a trade that goes into profit stop off at break even for someone who's not yet profitable, that might be psychologically tough. Nice that you're now on the right side of the market and able to get yourself into profit, right? And now you don't like giving it back. But here's the thing, like if you're risking over here, like let's see where, if that's your entry, and let's say your stop was somewhere around over here at 0.69, that's only a 1-to-1 risk to reward. And if that's where you're taking your profits, you're never going to be successful. And the only way to push a trade is by giving it room to go further past the first support or resistance level to the second and or third or more. And the only way that happens is if you get a portion of your trades stopped out at break even. Really important lesson right there. Those of you that are going from, first of all, to break even or better to that consistent profitability, 1% a month, you're able to understand that, right? And then developing, getting to that 2.5%, 3% a month is the difference of just simply then staying there consistently. And then instead of risking 0.5%, start risking 1% on each trade. Yeah, I'm glad you used all caps just to highlight that and point that out, because that really is the difference between a winning and losing trader. We got 700 people in here today privy to that information. If you look across the internet, there are rooms that are full of traders and or those seeking how to trade the markets. Here, the 719 of you that are here, the lucky ones, are the ones that were able to see that. When drawing, let's check this out. Rezer's got some good questions today. When drawing a trend line, is one better to connect the bodies of the candles or the wicks? Both. It depends. And I think I could show, maybe on the euro US dollar. No, the euro Japanese yen. Dun, 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 dun. So I think this is the one I could, it's not, Rez. It's not. Generally speaking, you go towards the bodies. Sometimes in some, maybe I could use the S&P. Sometimes in some markets, you have what happens. I'm trying to look for a good, this is a good example. This is the trend line you all know that we focus on, right? This is the trend line that once that breaks to the downside, sellers have begun control. Some people are really funny. I get a kick out of it. So, but if you clone this trend line over here, Reza, right? And then I see this peaks below over here, this peak over here, right? And you could see that peak over there. If I'm looking on the daily time frame, those will be spikes, right? Let's take a look. So that, by the way, to get to see, that's a spike over there. The spike, just as I thought. You should be drawing it from the bodies. You should, the euro US dollar. you should be drawing it on the bodies, but at times you need to use the wicks. Here is the euro US dollar. Here we're looking at, I'm trying to find an example. Anyway, Reza, we spent too much time with that one. You should use the bodies, but sometimes I'm not finding an example right now, so I can't show you. I don't know where it is. There's a clear pair, like if you were to have these wicks over here, 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 you want another line above it. You want to move that line also then to the top of the wicks, because if you break through that, those wicks, those top of the wicks are still resistance. All right. Jordan, where would you look to take profits in the S&P this month? So let's look at the S&P. We're here on the 3-day, and you could see on the reason I'm going to start on the 3-day is because you could see that we are in the top half of this range of this channel. We're in the top half of it. That's when you want to be very, very, very bullish, right? Buying off of, let me get rid of that trend line, buying off of the trend line supports over here. And I want to get into FX in a minute because we didn't even get started and there are so many setups. I mean, that's Miguel. It's always been like we're no man left behind, right? No man left behind. We're trying to take everyone with us. Where we would look to take profit. I think what's happening next, and we looked at this yesterday again on the S&P afternoon video. It looks to me that we are going to be testing the 32 area, the top resistance over here. That looks like what is next. Now, is that a line straight into that, right? Or is that become something that is a little bit more drifting? Or we see a pullback for, like, I mean, it seems to me either way, that's where we're headed. Like a magnet is pulling us there right now. Is this looking like a top right now, rolling over? I mean, if you start making lower lows, on a 3-day time frame, all right, then you could get a little cautious. Would I be selling any lows right now here on an 8-hour time frame? Right? No. I would let this consolidate above 31.23. It's just super, 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 super bullish, right? To get short over here, right? We're looking at this trend line break. We're looking maybe below 31.23, right? Not really leaning towards the short side. Do I want to sell over here though? Maybe take a small piece off. Markets are looking good, and while I was expecting them to consolidate throughout the summer, right? We're seeing the markets with a good rhythm right now. So I would not be looking or to take profit. Again, I'd be looking to push those trades. Is the S&P have the potential here to go on to break out above the June high? And if it does, then are we looking at something like 3,300, right? Is that all possible? And is that all possible within a few to several weeks? Yeah, that's really possible, right? I don't see any type of indication that we're seeing any type of risk off or need to position ourselves or even hedge ourselves to the downside. I think that you're looking to continue to ride this wave at least for as long as you can, right? So I'm not looking to look as far as looking to take profits right now. I think you're looking to push trades right now. Yeah, we'll start off with the Euro British pound. I have that highlighted. We could see that we've been watching this pattern. We've been watching this. Someone pointed out is what they believe was a head and shoulders over here. Looking on the 4-hour, you can see it on the 8-hour. This being the neckline over there. We saw it break down and then come into the broken support and then test it as resistance. And then you could see the entry right over there. That's a textbook entry for us. If you don't understand what that means or want to know, take the trading course and work with all of us. Work with me, work with all of us. This is our textbook entry right over here. Short, Euro, British pound. What are you looking for as far as targets? Well, you have the big support over here at 0.89153. That's a nice risk reward just going into there. But everyone knows the drill anyway, right? Hit the first support, and are you in a support right now? Right? Are you in a support level right now? Could you see that resistance over here? then it's a local support you're in. I'm more focused down below at the lower one over here at 0.89. That's where I would also be looking, right? We did this yesterday at what the target could be, right? So if you're looking at this being a head and shoulders and you're looking for a possible target, you're looking down into the support over here at 0.8829. That's the difference right here and right there. And when I say that, I mean if a trader is taking profits here, first of all, in this beautiful entry, they will simply never make money in the markets, right? Some people are very excited to get that entry, and it's awesome when a trade falls into profit right away and quickly. But normally those are the good trades. Normally those are the good trades. And when you see this type of break, so a lot of people, they get very excited to have profit and they take profit. They think they can't go broke taking profit. You can't make money taking profit on a one-to-one like that, right? Even into this support level over here, that's when you're moving your stop loss to then break even. Now the trade has room. Are you taking a small piece off? Yeah, you could take a small piece off, but the majority of the trade you're trying to push then to the second support level down when selling. That's also actually happens to be the target right in that area. So that's what I would be looking to target down over at 0.8828. Now the euro is also, has been pretty firm. It's just that the pound is outperforming the euro over here. And this continues, by the way. You can see over here, this line over here. Let me just watch me push it down. And now I'm using the body over here. Up here is the wicks. Like these lines, they're you got to be flexible. Some other people use like zones. They use zones, right? I use the line. It's easier. It's cleaner for me. Some people use boxes, something like this, for where the area is, which is, also correct. It's in that area. I just find the line cleaner and easier. Do you still push after 5 days of chop? Gene, in what context are you talking about? Are you talking about the euro US dollar over here? Yeah, I went with that one over here. I was taking this long over here into the resistance, hoping to break. Not only did it break the resistance, well, it's not pulling back, and it's giving an opportunity to get long again. Looks like we're buying after the tip of the S&P. Well, I'm not exactly sure what that means, but so I could clarify, right? So this is where we've been, and again, it's amazing. They're all on the YouTube channel, but all the videos are here also, and even the ones we lost on the YouTube channel. And we were talking here about selling. If you were active on the S&P, we were talking here about selling as the 8 hour started making a lower low than the previous price bar, right? And then over here getting long, and then selling again. And then over here getting long, and then over here saying, all right, no more. We're not selling. Only look to the long side, which bought this over here. This was right before the 4th of July, right? I then started staying on the side completely, but we said no shorts, right? And again, long impulse right over here. Some people held this entry right over here, another leg up. And then over here, we said, all right, holidays, just neutral, but we have that upwards bullish bias. And then as we got started again together this week, as we came into the support, we said that's an area to lean towards the long side. Are you looking over here to get out and short? Are you looking to have your stop loss below the 31.23 support level? There's no reason to be looking to sell this market at this point or be looking to take trades to the downside. That's not what we're seeing. We need to see right now. We need to see a break of this trend line. Why would we take this whole area, right? Remember, this was also, we were looking at an enormous amount of pension funds rebalancing. We were looking on that sell side pressure. We were just there and watching and waiting. If we come into this resistance over here, right, closer to 32, 32, or even the 3,200 number, and are rejected, that becomes an attractive area to look for a short. This becomes an attractive area to look for a short, because then from here to our trend line support is a decent decent trade, as well as even into the 31.23. That's 100 points. But right now, we're just looking towards the long side. Space is black. SPCE, huh? This Friday. Wow, that would be great. That would be great. Um, let's see. Bitcoin off a little bit. Let's keep looking through the pairs over here. I wanted to look at the Australian dollar, Japanese yen, which also, after giving an entry, is still holding above its entry and or the support it is. When I enter a trade, I do not exit that trade unless my stop loss is hit. As I did my analysis and I took my entry, knowing exactly what I'm doing methodically and why I'm doing it, I set my stop loss. Unless that stop loss is hit, I continue with my trade until I either move my stop loss to break even or exit a piece or the whole trade. Yeah, there's such a thing called as OPSEC, really important. Especially operation security is really important. We looked at the euro Japanese yen, just like we looked at the Australian dollar Japanese yen. It's also maintaining above its buy entry over here, above the support over here. You could see this channel over here, right, and this support. So take that into consideration. If you break below there, that's normally a sign when you break a channel like this that trend is coming to an end. This should be a continuation pattern here to the downside. Right now, you should be right now you could be very well in a buy trade from right over here around 121.47, and the target area for that is going to be back all the way up towards this resistance at 122.65. That's the first area of resistance on this trade. And again, if you get yourself, if we are able to get back up there and test, are you looking further, extend this trend line, by the way, depending on where you break that resistance, right? You might want to take profit into that resistance instead of here if it is breaking through over there. But ultimately, we're looking for 123.60 on that trade as well. Did you see the travel 4K tax benefit? This is the first I'm hearing of that. I have to look into that. Thanks for sharing that with us over here. Wanted to take a matcha sip over here. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to get a sip of matcha. Hey man, I appreciate that. The MRB, man, it's comments like that, and I do receive them, often. It really is what really inspires me to really push and going. Not because it's the best video, what you enjoy in this video. And again, I'm so glad we have some good ones. I'm going to go through every one of these live stream videos because there are, like today, in today's video, there were some portions where you saw some really good nuggets of information shared. And it's like you want to collect those nuggets. I'm gonna go back through those videos. I'm gonna find all of those nuggets shared, and I'm gonna make clips of them. Yeah, I start the day off, JC, with coffee. I get up about an hour and a half before we go live, and I spend that time meditating. I spend that time getting ready, preparing. I noticed, and I made a mental note to myself that I did not check my portfolio and or open trades until being up 28 minutes today, right? Can you imagine that detachment? That's pretty good. I start with coffee. I make some matcha at the same time, which goes into like a Yeti type mug, and then I could sip it. This has been made now for 2 hours, and I'm just starting sipping it, and it's nice and warm, perfect temperature. Golden nuggets of knowledge, and that's all. I ask if you do receive any information during the live stream that you appreciate, or you're just happy to be here, just go ahead and hit that like button. It really helps support the channel. It helps. I was looking at Miguel's question, and that's why I got silent. Mindfulness, meditation, or transcendental mindfulness, mindful of our creator, and just trying to connect with God, right? Just having that open posture. That's the posture we need to have towards God. God is always given to us we need to have that open posture to receive towards God. Um, Joe, what, Joe? We got some. What's going on, Joe? Do we got some? I missed your question. Let me find out what's going on here first. And I don't see. I see one long. What amount of money is in your total portfolio? Sure, I'll do that when I get my question answered. I'm sensing some type of entitlement here, Joe. I'm sensing that you're entitled to understand something here. So what is that? What could I help you with, Joe? God is good all the time, my friend. Absolutely. Um, let's take a look at what else is going on, seeing so far, right? As we entered 20 minutes into the US equity markets open, seeing markets slightly off, nothing to get excited about. Over here, Rolla, sincerely questions like that. Listen, this is the fact that people could spend anywhere from a few sessions to a few weeks, right? Those that are thriving, months, and then why would you? This is where we do our analysis, right? But if listen, the course, the many people in here are taking and are part of the course. You have to take the course if you're not understanding basic. If you don't have a trading plan, you have to take the course. Boom, boom, boom. No, Bill, guy will never take God out of my life. I am absolutely offended that you would ask me to do that. But I say that with jest, Bill. Bill, I'm not going to do that. I there's no way. So, So boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I appreciate that, Seth. And just please be tolerant. It's just genuine in who I am. I'm not pushing God on anyone, but I am glorifying God in my life if when that comes up, right? Always be ready and pleased to show a little bit of tolerance, right? We focus in on the markets. Should you sell the US dollar, Swiss franc? Absolutely. Herbert, if you're ever asking, or if anyone's ever asking, should they sell or should they buy? If you do not understand that or know that for yourself, there's no way that you should do that. All right, here we go. What else do I want to look at this morning? How long have we been online together? Almost 1 hour. It's actually been, how many have the eyes to see, the ears to hear? What a great session that it was. How much of value was packed into that 1 hour that we saw already. Let's keep going over. I want to go over a lot more of the FX markets, including the US dollar, Mexican peso. I want to start there. There's a link in the description below. Yeah, thank you, Shar. That's good, man. Just please respect others, right? That's what everyone needs a hug. We need some John Lennon or something in our lives right now, but everyone needs to have tolerance and respect for others, right? It's not one way. It's not one way coming from, that I should demand that you tolerate my beliefs and that you follow them, but I'm not going to do that for you and yours. I mean, there we go. All right. Thanks, Corey. Thank you. Yeah, thanks. Welcome. Thanks for being over here. And Bill, thanks for that love. All right. Thanks for that love. I appreciate that, Bill. John Lennon. TJ, how did John Lennon get a shout out in over here? Let's start. I want to look at the pound Australian dollar, but I want to first see what's going on with the US dollar, Mexican peso. And, as some of you may know, living in Mexico, I converted a bunch of pesos back at 21.80 back into dollars. And I'm wondering if that's the smartest move over the long term. You have to pick. Right now, there's a fierce debate. Some people are looking for insolvency to rear its head right now and believe that we're going to see pressure on the markets. We're going to see deflation. We're going to see a strong dollar roar its head, and we're going to see the Fed. Of course, the Fed is going to be there to act. Others believe that the Fed has acted and has done enough, and it's going to be a while before we run into any dollar problems. Are we going to see risk on, risk off, US dollar, Mexican peso? If we continue to see risk on in the markets, that means the peso has the potential to take out 2150 at some time. You know, you don't have to put a time anywhere in the next few months, right? Going into the fall, if we have the equity markets breaking out over here above 32, 34, and going on, that's going to put a lot of pressure here on the dollar versus the peso. And not to mention, I think I, I've drifted, and everyone here that's with me every day knows that I've drifted ever since we broke down over here on the DXY. Ever since we broke down this channel right here, going back to May the 29th, when we broke outside of that channel, that's where I've become leaning towards that weaker dollar, because it doesn't matter what I believe. It only matters what's happening on the charts, right? And you want to understand why and how and the fundamentals, right? And that's why also everyone knows I've gone out of my way and have been talking about how I was going to go out of my way to really understand at this point the bearish dollar argument, because that's what the technicals were showing over here. And now this continues. Is it possible we make another leg down over here? Of course it's possible, right? The dollar is still strong, even if you're looking at the dollar, even if you're looking at the dollar trading, all the way down at 90, or call it 80. I don't want to say 85, right? But we'll call it 86.50, call it 88 and above. The dollar is still very strong, right? But we're looking towards weakening right now, and it looks like we could be going down lower. How long it takes to get there, I don't know. We're definitely looking at more stimulus coming, and soon it should affect the dollar. You are seeing gold right now, precious metals, really pricing that in appropriately. Here comes silver back at 1900, and Bitcoin is soon going to be following. And back to my point of these analysts, you could call them, now that gold is trading at 1800, they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Now I see, right? I'm not surprised with all the central banks printing money that gold is trading like that now. But what about knowing it before it happened, right? They're the same people when Bitcoin's trading at $20,000. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. The Fed's printing. All right. Jordan, I'm not sure if I want to invest in the NASDAQ or the S&P 500 when I'm done trading and want a long-term investing, can't figure out what to do. Yeah, so this is this is a question that myself and everyone else I think has thought through, right? If you're invested in equities, do you want to invest in the S&P 500 or do you want to invest in NASDAQ? Clearly, tech is leading the way in this post-coronavirus world that we're in. And is this a bubble? Valuations back as they were towards 2000 during the dot-com bubble. Of course, valuations are just absolutely crazy. Is this the top of the bubble here today? Well, price is up today. Clearly not the top. These things climb and go slowly up until they go parabolic. And this is not going parabolic right now, but they fall and crash hard. Do you want to be invested in the... I looked on the channel. This video right over here. You got to see it. Feels like 2007. Or does it feel like 1999? Yep, I do. This video that was posted on the channel. I'm sorry, I got to get it to you. It's so important. Well, I forgot. I don't know. Oh, yeah, the NASDAQ. Here we go. Sorry, I got it. It's going to be this video right over here. It's going to be the one on Bitcoin being... Here we go. Let me just go to the Bitcoin playlist. It's much easier. It's important. That's why I'm sharing it. Here we go. A 416 times levered S&P position. Bitcoin, right? That's what you're looking at over here. A 416 times levered S&P position. If you think the S&P is going up, and if you think that there's a correlation between Bitcoin and the S&P, don't you think that it makes more sense to get long Bitcoin? I don't. Listen, you're asking, and I have to tell you at this point in time, I cannot see being long equities as an important part of your portfolio at all. It just doesn't make sense, right? Even if you're stuck in equities inside an IRA or Roth IRA, I'm invested inside Grayscale, Bitcoin inside that environment because I believe the next 18 months is Bitcoin is the trade. There's nothing that will come close to outperforming Bitcoin. It'll be the best performing asset in the next 18 months with nothing even coming remotely close, right? And when I say asset, I don't mean that Ethereum itself is not going to outperform Bitcoin. Ethereum could outperform Bitcoin, no question about it. Silver could outperform gold. Decide which of those that you want to own, especially, and you also have to think about right now. If you remember back over here, this was when everything was easy, right? And this is when everyone thought the markets were going to keep going up, right? That's when the markets were like everyone was a believer. Over here today, not everyone is a believer. You have different camps. You have those that are extremely bullish, and you have those that are extremely bearish, thinking that we're going to come down and test the March low still, right? So, like right now, not everyone, and there's $5 trillion in money markets on the sidelines. Right now, there's no way that everyone is in that hopeful camp. It's not even close. This market still has a lot of upside potential. There's no question about it. And at the end of the day, the Fed's printing. The Fed is printing, right? What does the Fed printing do? What does QE do? It inflates assets. And at the same time, it is also deflationary. What are your thoughts on, Alexander? That's for everyone to think about, by the way. Um, and it depends, right, on their age. My mom, who's 81, a 1% Bitcoin allocation for her portfolio, that makes a lot of sense in the world. Now, my father-in-law, who's younger, right? Let's say someone in their mid to late 60s, right? They already have a bunch of grandchildren. How do they position themselves, right? Well, I actually have got him over the last let's call it 2 months, right? To position out of equities heavily into Bitcoin and gold, right? And that's what I believe is the safest, smartest position right now. That's the safest and smartest position right now to be holding onto cash, right? Out of the stock market in Bitcoin and gold. And he's positioned well. I could sleep well at night knowing. And it's and what about someone who's young? Someone who's in their early 20s, how should you be positioning yourself? You should be learning to trade in FX. You should be learning to make that 20-30% a year in FX. And you should be holding all Bitcoin right now. That's my opinion. What about someone who's in their mid 40s? How would you allocate yourself? You got a bunch of kids, a family. How much of your portfolio would you put into Bitcoin? If um, at least 50%. Imagine that, at least 50%. All right, some good questions, good session today. I only want 5% of my investment in crypto. That's great. That's a big, like I said, my mom should be 1% invested. 5% is about as, well, let's put it that way. It's more aggressive than an 81-year-old investment into crypto, and it's a good safe sum. Boom, 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 boom. No, there's nothing going on in the US dollar, Japanese yen. It's been consolidating for quite a while. Let's look at it right now. You could see that if I just take my mouse back and go back months to April, price is at the same exact point that it is right now. You could see this 5-year trend line, this yellow line goes back 5 years. A break above that gets you like alerted that now could be the time to get interested in the US dollar, Japanese yen. But we really need a breakout above 109.771 up over here, and then even a further, really a breakout above. I'll show you on the 3-day. Yeah, there's that 5-year trend line going back to 2015, right? So a breakout above there, you want to get long, and we really need to clear 112, 20 up here in order for this thing possibly to get going. And most likely at one day in the future, all that's going to be taking place, right? Is it possible that we run into some type of monetary shock again, that insolvency becomes a problem, that we break 105 and maybe even test down towards the $100 level again and or break that? Yeah, that's all probable. That's all probable. That's all possible. But right now, not too much is going on. We're in no man's land, and when you're in no man's land, you got to stay aside. I don't know. I don't try to pick bottoms ever. I don't try to pick bottoms ever. Oh, Euro New Zealand dollar. Yep. Let's check it out. Euro New Zealand dollar. I don't. Oh, are you at a support over here? Let's pull back over here. Like, is that an uptrend? Right? How far back am I? I had to go back a couple of years to say, oh well, I'm at some pretty strong support. Do I want to buy there? Right? Let me zoom in a little. Let me get back towards like this is March high. What's been happening since March? We've seen the New Zealand dollar actually outperform the euro by a large margin. Are we going to continue to see risk outperform? Or does that look like that we're breaking that support right now? And the entry right here would be looking for a retest and then a resumption downwards. That's the correct entry. Again, that's something that the course would really benefit for you in having that awareness of understanding the structure of the market so that you are looking to position yourselves correctly into each trade. Got it, Max. Absolutely. So the things about bubbles and maybe, the thing about bubbles is you never know how long they're going to go, right? Does the S&P deserve to be trading up at these valuations? That's neither here nor there. It's a trader's market right now. We're just following the technicals. We're using the charts and the levels on the charts to show us the way. Things could get pretty crazy. And when I say things could get pretty crazy, I mean that right now the Fed's balance sheet is around $7 trillion, or is it I think it's $7 trillion, right? Is that going to 10 trillion by the end of the year? The fact that we're even having that conversation, is it going to 20, $30 trillion within the next couple of years? All that is now a possibility, right? So again, Bitcoin, gold, right? Right now, you want to be honing that skill of learning to trade in the FX markets. What's your recommendation for sizing and leverage? Yeah, again, Antonio, all these things are shared in the course. You don't need the course in order to become a successful trader. There are many people who have spent time just with us every day. Obviously, the analysis benefits them every day. Even if you don't trade, even if you just follow our S&P analysis, it affects how you trade across, if you're just focused on the NASDAQ. I've been trying to include more analysis on the NASDAQ as well. But again, those markets right now, they were really exciting during the crash. And looking for that continued test of the lows. And they could become that way again. If insolvency becomes an issue and if we start having another type of crisis, then we're going to have a lot more fun to the downside again. It's just not happening right now. Keep some cash on the sidelines, all right? Cash, if gold goes down again, if gold went down another, let's say we had another crisis and gold went down, 7% or 10%. It went down 15% in the last crisis, 30% in the crisis before that. We've seen 5% pullback since, right? So on a 5% pullback on gold, you have to be ready. So if you don't have cash, though, when those opportunities arise, there's nothing for you to do. Bitcoin down over here, not many people had the ability to purchase Bitcoin down at 5,000 because to do that, you needed to already have money on exchanges, right? And that money on the exchange, that needed to be levered correctly so that you had funds available to buy. So many traders got wrecked over here. That's why this kept crashing actually on BitMEX. The wrecked, everyone just kept getting levered out over there, and it just kept going boom, 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 boom until they closed down BitMEX. Is the economy historically tied to the markets? I mean, post 2008 crisis, post the listen, it's all artificial right now. It's a central bank economy. It's all artificial, right? It's all artificial. So if you're trying to trade off of what's happening in the economy, um, you know, I don't think that's not the macro right now, right? We all know what the trades are right now, right? Gold, Bitcoin. This not we've everyone has positioned themselves well. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. If you want to take a small bite on Bitcoin, where do you suggest you start at? Now, I don't know what a small bite is, right? I don't know if that's $100 or if that is you know, a couple of $1,000. But it would depend. It would depend. Maybe some other people have some suggestions for you. If you could, it's a $30 wire to purchase off of BlockFi, but I think that is the best way for, especially for newbies, because it's so easy to use. The user interference is so easy to use. It's like Coinbase was back in 2017. Coinbase is also easy to buy with, but they have a high fee, and I don't trust them. I wouldn't do that. I'd recommend BlockFi. Oh, let's take some matcha. I don't know, Luca. It's an amazing question, and GLD is the popular one, but you would need to research, and you could just do a quick search on that. Is which is the best gold ETF with secure holdings? You want to know which ones actually have gold, and that if there were a problem, that you would still have ownership of that gold and then just not give you the paper profits, which at that point are meaningless. That's why when it comes to gold and Bitcoin, you want to make sure you own the physical stuff at the end of the day. Yes, you could speculate on the paper. It makes perfect sense. Let me take a look around. I want to see what the year. Nothing has really changed since we've been on together now for about an hour and 11 minutes. When I say nothing else has changed, really nothing is moving. There was a nice movement overnight during London, as there normally is. But right now, we're just seeing the markets kind of mellow. And that's why it's been a good session for being able to talk about and take things. I don't know. I don't, when you hold Bitcoin or any money on an exchange, whatever FX broker you're using, well, if it's Oanda, you're taking your third party risk is Oanda, right? FX brokers tend to be very well capitalized. Even during the crisis when the Swiss central bank lost the peg, and a lot of traders were really wrecked in Forex, negative balances. Most brokers just forgave those balances. None of them went under because of that. But there is third party risk. BlockFi is backed by Fidelity Investments. Fidelity is a $7 trillion Fidelity Investments, right? That's pretty significant. They are also investors in Backed, which is the exchange run by ICE, the parent company of the New York Stock Exchange. Heavily into Bitcoin is Fidelity Investments. They're also backed by Coinbase and Gemini, the Winklevoss twins. They're also backed by Morgan Creek. These are all big, big, big time investors in the space that are invested into BlockFi. You have a lot of VC money behind BlockFi. Is it possible that BlockFi is a scam and goes out of business? I mean, I don't think so. I'm holding money with them. You have to be aware of your security. That means using two-factor authorization. That means also using an email address that nobody else knows about. That also means using a whitelisted email address that those funds on the Bitcoin funds can only be withdrawn to that one address, an address that your own. And if anyone tries to change that, there's a 3-day delay where you could call up BlockFi and get your account back. But yeah, you always have risks, but you need to be aware of those risks. And does Mark own Bitcoin? Now, Mark, I know. Mark accepts Bitcoin in the arena. You could buy season tickets using Bitcoin. Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate that, and thanks for being such an important part of it. Yep, Roman, in a big way. In a big way. In a big way. It's where I focus all my attention. Um, a small percentage in New York, a small percentage of entries during New York, mostly during that London before the New York Open. What else are we looking at? Trying to go through the comments over here. Nice, Murray. Very, very nice. We got a little one coming in here right now. And yeah, Murray, good trade. Good trade because now you're seeing, gold on its way towards new all-time highs. That's going to be fun, right? Where does gold stop? We're seeing, $2,000 price targets, by 2021. Is that the beginning of 2021 or the end of 2021? Because by the beginning of 2021, I could see perhaps gold even making it to 2000. By the end of 2021, I think my price target is a lot higher on gold, right? A lot higher. There we go. Dan, good information here. I want to share this with you. When we're talking about ETFs, he's saying two trusts worth looking at, right? Owned by Sprott. It's Eric Sprott, no? Eric Sprott at PH. That's why I'm going to put that on again. The ticker is PHYS. And the other one is the Perth Mint over in Australia in their vaults. Potential tax benefits over an ETF. Also, less of a premium than GLD. That's interesting right there. Thanks, Dan, for sharing that information. That is a nugget right there. What's the best exchange? Rod, you could just do a little bit of a Google search, right? And that might be, depending on where you are, that might be Coinbase. And it depends what state you're on, whether that's available to you or not. Obviously, those you could be people in the U.S. are kind of behind the curve in a lot of ways. It's just the way it is. God bless the U.S. I'm an American and I love the U.S. But they're behind the curve in a lot of ways, right? It is legal to open up if you're a U.S. citizen offshore companies, and those offshore companies are able to operate in different jurisdictions than the U.S. You just need to claim on your tax returns. Perfectly legal to own any type of offshore company. You just need to claim that the fact that you do and or all income. Brian's asking how I am able to avoid having overnight buy orders triggered during the Asian session. Well, the Asian session is pretty muted. In the beginning, you get a little volatility. The opening, the first 15 minutes, and generally speaking, hour or two. But generally speaking, it's a muted session. If you are, before going to bed, even if it's a couple of hours before London opens, setting those orders, there's no problem whatsoever. It's just the way it is, BB. That's not. It's just the way it is. No problem whatsoever. Listen, everyone. We're gonna call it a session. I'll see you all later this afternoon as we look get an update on the markets. Then I enjoyed the session. We got a big day ahead of us. I hope everyone has a good one. Thanks for being here today. I hope you all enjoyed it. I know I did, and I'm grateful for all of you. It is. I don't know. It hasn't come up, but this is the best environment, the best community. I'm grateful for every single one of you. Most especially for those. Can you imagine? Anyway, all right. God love you. I'll talk to you all later. Bye, everyone.